the core competencies, how the company can think of having a sustainable competitive advantage based upon value capabilities or rare capabilities, costly to imitate and non-substitutable capabilities, isn't it? We had stopped here, I think, with the last point. Hello. Now move ahead with the identifying of the competitive edge or advantage. Now here, a company's competitive approach, it requires a tight fit with the company's internal situation and is strengthened when it explores it to its maximum possible limit, when the resources are utilized optimally, that are valuable, they are rare, they are difficult to be copied by the competitors, then only we can say the company has some competitive advantage. Now here, whether the company's resources and capabilities are enough to compete in the market, and determining whether they can provide the basis for competitive success. It can be achieved through a map of these resources and the capability of the organization. Now, many a times the companies, they do have some of the resources, but if they don't identify them, if they don't explore them to the fullest of their capability, then they cannot enjoy the dominance or the position of having a competitive advantage in the market. So here basically this involves two steps. That is, first is the identifying company's resources and how the company can think of using those resources, that is capabilities, improving or enhancing the capabilities of the organization. Next is to examine them more closely to ascertain which are the most competitively placed, which can be placed, and whether they can support a sustainable competitive advantage in the competitors' market, in the competition against the competitors. So here these two are the important aspects. Now, when we say it's a company's resources, they are competitive assets which are owned and controlled by the organizations. They are internal to the organization, maybe with reference to plants, the distribution centers, the manufacturing equipment, the patents, the information system, capital reserves, brand name, creditworthiness of the company. Now, all these are the intangible assets like brand name or strong organization culture. We have seen what are the tangible and intangible assets for an organization in the previous session. So here the company has to understand, first of all, what all resources it has in its basket. And then it can think of developing the competencies and bank on their competitive edge in the market. And capability is the capacity of a firm to completely perform some internal activity, which may be termed as a competence also here. It is termed as a competence. Now, here, basically, the organization resources and the behavior of the organization, both of them, they reflect the strengths and weaknesses of the organization. Okay, here the company undertakes the SWOT analysis, where it identifies its strengths and weaknesses. Now, opportunities can explore based upon its strengths, and it has to cope up with the external threats also. Now, these strengths and weaknesses give rise to the synergic effects, which in turn builds the competencies. These competencies gives rise to organizational capabilities to sustain in the market and make a strategic move in the industry. The competencies can be core competencies or they can be distinctive competencies. Core competencies are the foundations or mechanisms upon which this company enjoys the competitive edge. Distinct competencies are something which is unique feature of the organization apart from the routine operations. So this is the basic difference in between two aspects. Now, organization capability factors, they are the strengths and weaknesses that exist in different functional areas of an organization. Now, here these core competencies can be divided into 5 functional areas. The first one is with reference to finance. That is, it reflects the financial capability of the organization. Now, what all comes into this finance? It relates to availability or usage of funds, management of funds, and all allied aspects that have bearing on organization's capacity. And from financial perspective, the company thinks of implementing the strategies. Here, it's related to the sources of funds. That is, it relates to capital structure, the procurement of capital, how the company thinks of gaining the capital, the type of pattern of financing, borrowings, the capital and credit availability from the shareholders, the reserves, how much reserves and surplus the company has, and banks and credibility in terms of banks and financial institutions. So here it takes care of funds management, we can say rather, of the organization. This is one of the important department around which the other departments they revolve, because finance is one of the foundations or important aspect for business. Also, factor related to the usage of the funds are capital investments, fixed asset acquisition, the current assets, what are the loans and advances, what are the reserves and surpluses, etc. Similarly, it also deals with the management of funds, like financial budgeting, accounting, different budgeting systems, management control systems, state of financial health of the company, what is the impact of inflation, what about the return and risk management of the organization, the credit position of the organization. So all these aspects are taken care by the financial department, which portrays the financial capability of the organization, which is the internal core competency of an organization. Similarly, when we speak about the strengths of the financial capability of the firms, it also checks the access to financial resources, how the company can think of improving the current status as far as the financial position is considered, how it can achieve more profits with the optimum utilization of the resources, access specifically to financial resources, relationship with financial institutions, maybe banks or other financial institutions, how creditable is the position of the firm, and in what perspective it maintains the relationship with this firm. The credit worthiness of the organizations also matters here. It reflects this credit worthiness, somewhere reflects the goodwill of the organization. The company should also have the efficient budgeting systems. It should gain high level of confidence from different stakeholders as well as shareholders. Basically, shareholders will feel safe, those who have invested their amount in the organization. The company should be able to give them confidence that their money is in the safe hands. Also, the tax benefits due to government policies, whether there are any tax benefit which the company can explore in terms of government policies. Now, here one can think from the perspective of aspects like having the stakes in the organization. When a company thinks of going for mergers, acquisitions. So, from the financial point of view, the company takes all these decisions into account. Gujarat Ambuja accumulated high savings from higher current prices. Holcomb of Switzerland, world's second largest cement producer, took over the equity in this Gujarat Ambuja company. This helped the company to develop their rise in the financial strength. It helped them to raise the finances. Now, whether it is equity or other modes, it should be an attractive option for the companies. Now, next function is with reference to marketing. Now, finance is the base or the foundation upon which the marketing function lies. Here, it takes into account the factors like related to product manufacturing, product development, improving the quality, or a mix of the marketing mix tools, the variety, the positioning of the accurate positioning of the firm, the targeting of customers, promoting the product, pricing the product by undertaking pricing objectives, by framing the policies, distribution channels, taking care of all the logistic part, transportation, so that the offerings reach to the end consumers within the specified time period. It also takes care of promotion channels like whether to reach the customers through the print media, through the advertising, or through personal selling, sales promotions, which option the company should think of to promote the offerings. And basically, the objective is to reach the end customers here. It has a systematic and integrated approach here. Now, when the company takes into analysis the product portfolio management, okay, it is done through the marketing on the majority basis, because the research department provides the required information about the gap in the product need, or need-based products are suggested, And based upon that, the marketing department thinks of designing and developing. And further, it moves with the R&D department. If you take an example of a Parle, which is well recognized brand from decades, okay, it has been serving the customers with several biscuits and confectionaries. It has been a market leader, though there are many competitors, but still it's able to grab and keep up its market share with its offerings like Parle-G, which is a parent product, then Monaco, Crackjack, etc. Also, it has diversified in other flavored biscuits. When the competitors entered into other areas, even Parle thought of diversifying, but still its parent offering, that is Parle-G, is still alive and is having the dominant market share. Similarly, if we take the confectionery brand like Kiss Me Bar or Mango Light or Melody or Poppins, which has been targeted at kids, they're able to sustain and operate at full length their production units in spite of having cutthroat competition. So, marketing or offering new variety of products has sustained the company, coming up with innovative ideas and placing the offering, matching the gap and placing the offering to the target customers. Now, the next function is with reference to operations. Now, here it deals with the production systems where it undertakes the analysis with reference to capacity of the organization, capacity of that particular plant, its location, its layout, the product or service design, the automation of the systems or processes here. Now, these factors are related to operations and control of the systems. Now, here manufacturing the batch, the lots, speeding up the deliveries, utilizing the plant capacities to the fullest extent, all are considered under this operations management. Here also the factors are related to research and development system, like the personnel involved in it, trade-off between the manual work and the machine work. Today, in many of the organizations, the robots are introduced. But again, what is expected from these robots or for transportations, even for logistic management, the drones are also used. So here, basically planning the production facilities, the expectation from the new innovative technologies, how it facilitates in product development, also the patenting rights as far as the production processes, manufacturing system is considered, all comes into this part. Now, JK Tires pioneered radial tires in India, but it has not been able to capitalize on it. Now, technologically, its competitors such as Bridgestone has access to latest tread patterns, which has proved to be better. So, JK Tires is facing a strategic disadvantage owing to its lower operational capability. Similarly, if we take an excellent example of managing the operation chain is Mumbai's Dabbawalas, which you are all aware of. It's an organization of 4,500 people, but when we take the error, it is very much negligible, and it provides a quality system or a control on efficient activities as far as the door-to-door service is considered. This system works excellent because of its teamwork mechanism. Similarly, if we see the personal or human resource management, the factors related to personal system like manpower planning, the selection, the recruitment, the training and development, the compensation, the communication, appraisal, etc., is taken care of by this human resource management or personal department. Now here, the factors are also related to organizations and employee management. Now, the perception about the company and the image of the organization as an employer is at most important. Availability of development opportunities for employees, the working conditions, etc., matters more. That's why many of the people they go for referencing because they are scared to enter into unknown domain. First, even the personals, those who have applied for that particular organization, would like to take a review about the organizational factors, the conditions there, and then only the candidates think of applying. When we take the industrial relations into consideration, the union management relationships, collective bargaining systems, safety, welfares, and security of the employees, employee satisfaction, and keeping the morale of the employee, all this matters more. Now, if you take an example of the banking industry in India, it is highly competitive and has been increasingly difficult for banks to attract and retain good employees. Hong Kong and Shanghai banking corporations, India, they take the 4 pillars, that is the 4 C's, and plan accordingly. The 4 C's are like communication, customer centricity, competitive benchmarking, and collaborations, which help to create conducive human resource environment in the organization. Here the company takes the cognizance of the problems of the employees. They are given various bonus schemes. They are given the incentive schemes. The stock options are available. The rewards are given to the employees to maintain their morale, their loyalty, and to motivate them. Also, the bank takes into account the participative management. So, a sense of belongingness among the employees is developed. Now, here, if you take an example of a Taj, okay. So, in the corporate governance, you might have studied the case study about Taj. Whether you have studied how the employees help the customer getting out of the building when it was attacked. So here, this is the moral or the keeping up the morale of the employees, the culture of the organization, which is reflected in the way the activities are undertaken by the organization. Similarly, if you consider Lufthansa, okay, it is in the service sector. Lufthansa prides on their in-flight services and ranked best in the world. So here they bank upon their people. Now, next aspect is information management capability. Information management factors relate to design and management of the flow of communication or information from external into the internal, that is within the organization, for the purpose of carrying out or undertaking decision making and allied aspects which have bearing on organization's capacity. Now here, when the company takes into account the acquisitions, or retention of information, the sources, the quantity, the timeliness of the information passed on, or retention capacity matters more. Now, in this pandemic era, many of the service industries has banged upon this information system management part. They have used many technologies. They have invested in the tools and mechanisms to build the gap as far as information sharing is considered, as many of the managers they were working from the remote areas. Database management, computer systems, software capability, uh, all these are related to the processing and synthesis of the information. The availability of IT infrastructure, its relevance and compatibility to organizational needs, its timely upgradation of the facilities, etc., are more important. And now, because of the digital era or digitization, it has added more responsibility on the IT or the information management department. Now, if you take banking sector, it is highly integrated business. If we take IT industries, they are also dependent majority on the database management or the network management mechanism. Apart from this, there are also general management capabilities where the overall integration, coordination, and direction of these functional capabilities, they move towards the common goal or towards the common framework. Now, what is the main purpose here? To achieve the objectives of strengthening the organization, to build core competencies of the organization. So this is very important part. Now, have you understood this part? Now we move ahead with methods and techniques used for organizational appraisal. Now, how will the organization come to know whether they are moving towards the objectives, or as far as the competency is considered, the competency is being utilized or to the optimum level? The competencies are developed to the maximum possible level. So there are certain methods and techniques used for organizational appraisal, and they can be identical to this, the identical to evaluate the performance of an organization. Now, here performance evaluation is a different thing, and organizational appraisal is the other thing. Now, here when we take the performance evaluation into account, it focuses on assessing or evaluating the current behavior of the organization with reference to its overall performance. The efficiency and assessment is short term in nature. When we take into consideration the performance evaluation, it is based upon the past, whatever are the results. Okay, based upon that, the performance evaluation takes is considered, and the company comes to know how the company is performing. While the organizational appraisal is a very comprehensive term or a broader term, and the long-term nature is focused upon. It's not only takes the current behavior or current approach, but upon what the organization needs to do in order to gain the capability to compete in the market. So here, when the companies take the organization appraisal into consideration, it looks into the past, it takes into consideration the current scenario as well as the future. So here we can say that organization appraisal is more focused towards determination of the vision statement. It's moving towards the vision statement. Now here there are different methods and techniques which are used for organizational appraisal systems. One of the internal analysis system is the VRO framework, VRIO framework. Now the company thinks of even having the methods based upon the internal analysis, based upon the comparative analysis, where the company compares itself with the competitors. So it is comparative analysis, like benchmarking. So today we will see the one of the method of internal analysis, which deals with the analysis of strengths and weaknesses of the organizations. Now we usually say that the company should go for environmental scanning. So here when we restrict it to internal scanning, internal audit, which reflects to the strengths and weaknesses of the organization. Now how the company undertakes this? By using such type of methods and techniques. So Barnley contributed to this Bureau framework. Through his research, he presented a framework for the organizations. Now, what does VRIO stand for? The expansion of this term is valuable, rare, inimitable, and organized for usage. This is what when we expand this VRIO. Now here the first part is valuable. Now the organization capabilities possessed by the firm that helps it to generate revenue by banking on its opportunities is the term valuable. Okay, now here it may be this value may be in terms of high quality product offering, like we see in terms of technology driven products like automobile or electronic goods, where electronic gadgets like mobile handsets or a television, iPad, the companies think of emphasizing the values through offering the quality products, the emphasis on the quality and the features. If you take service industry here, which banks upon the after sales service is one of the part, or maybe when we take the service industries into consideration, they add value maybe through the processes, through the physical infrastructure facility, or by the people attribute. Just now I gave an example of Lufthansa Airlines. Similarly, we see McDonald's also banks upon the more upon the experience. Okay, so here experience is the mantra, where people visit the retail outlet, that restaurant, and enjoy the environment and the service. So that is the valuable meaning of valuable for that company. Against this, there might be a company which banks upon the process as the value. Now, there was a company which banked upon the time limit. Okay. That within this particular time frame, the products would be delivered. So this becomes the value. This is the value addition from the customer's point of view. Similarly, if you see the healthcare chain or healthcare industry, okay, the valuable is something where it banks upon the services provided to the customers. Now, only the thing is value has to be defined from the customer's perspective. Nobody can judge what is valuable for the customers here. So the company should plan for this phrase of valuable from the customer's point of view, from the customer's perspective. The next is rare. The organizational capabilities that are possessed by the firm, they are exclusive to the firm, and the others, they don't possess them, or maybe very few other firms in the industry have them. Like I gave an example of the workforce, motivated workforce. So here, for this motivated workforce, it's rare in the organization. It's an asset for the organization, where one cannot think of having or banking upon this capability or capacity. Similarly, if the company is banking upon the processes, so it might have something rare which the others, they don't have. The inimitable part is the duplication is not easily possible. Now for the competitors, they cannot imitate it. They cannot think of copying it. Now, when the company has a USP, unique selling proposition, basically with reference to technology, and they have the rights, like companies go for patenting or copyrights, which the others they cannot, or they have the trade secrets which the others cannot copy. The formula, the mechanism, the production processes. Now, initially, if we see Amazon is one of the company which is dominating the, you can say, the digital business. Here, the way they match the gap between the supply and the demand is recommendable. The other competitors are struggling in this phase, while Amazon is performing excellently well because of the managed outsourcing activities. Many of the activities are outsourced to the third party logistics, especially the logistic and distribution, and hence it has achieved success. So here, the company's image values are also not imitable by the competitors. Now, the core values, the training given to the employees, the competencies of the employees, they cannot be matched with the competitors. That is what is inimitable. Now, organized for usage is the organization capabilities possessed by the firm that could be used through appropriate organization structure, business processes, control systems, and reward systems. Like the company may have the strong R&D personnel. Now, when the company thinks of having or clubbing of all of them, valuable, rare, inimitable, and organized for usage, it gives an integrated approach and results in sustainable strategic advantage. This use of the framework is for the internal analysis of the organization or the company. Now, sustainable strategic advantage results through the use of capabilities of the organization that are valuable, that are rare, that are inimitable, and for which the firm is organized for usage also. Capabilities that are not valuable, rare, or that can be imitated should not be emphasized by the organization. So here the company puts in place systems, processes, and attempts to organize the usage of such capabilities. It may lead to strategic advantage. Now, have you understood this VRIO framework? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, here, though these words seem to be much more easy, the valuable or the rare, but it takes a lot of focus for the organizations uh, to build up these aspects from the competitor's point of view to gain the competitive advantage for the organization. And basically, here the companies have to think from the customer's perspective and not from their perspective. So it takes a toll for the companies to design the value part and come up with a USP. The organizations are always striving to innovate something, to innovate the product, to come up with new processes, new systems. Now, like we saw the VRIO framework, similarly, second, we have the value chain analysis. This is again the method for assessing the strengths and weaknesses of an organization based on an understanding of the series of activities it performs. So here, it is the activities linkage. Michael Porter in 1985 introduced this framework called value chain analysis. A value chain is a set of interlinked values creating activities or performed by an organization. Now here it involves all those activities which start right from or which begin from the procurement of raw material till the finished goods, and it is at the doorstep of the ultimate customer. So all the processes in between which take parts in between the from the procurement of raw material to reaching to the end customer, all are included in this value chain analysis. The value chain of a company, it may be linked to the value chain of its suppliers at the back end and the buyers at the front end, forming a event or a chain of activities or series that Porter terms as a value system. So here the value chain is divided into primary and support activities. So all these are interlinked activities and they are bifurcated into primary and support activities. Now, primary activities are directly related to the flow of the product towards the customers. Now, here they include the sub activities also. The first one is inbound logistics. Inbound logistics include all the activities that an organization uses for reaching, storing, transporting the inputs into the production processes. So here, if we take into consideration the activities like material handling, the warehousing, the inventory control, all are the functions related to inbound logistics. Basically, it deals with the procurement and bringing together the raw material as well as procurement part. That is the back-end operations. So when we come to the next part, that is operations, all activities which are required to transform the raw material into the finished products. So all the activities like assembling of the products, the physical distribution, the operational chains, the maintaining, machining, fabricating, packaging, all these are activities involved at this operational level. Okay. Now, when we take the outbound logistics into account, it is related to the activities which involve with the once the goods once the once the production unit thinks of having the goods in the processed format, like storing, transporting, going out of production processing. So outbound logistics activities, they involve the activities performed in the organization with reference to order processing, physical distribution, and warehousing. The next is the marketing and sales part. Now, when the goods are ready, okay, all these activities of that organization they use to market and sell the products to the customers. Now, creating demand for the products is also the duty of marketing department. And the product portfolio management, the pricing objectives, developing products, and promoting the offerings in the market is the responsibility of this marketing and sales department. Sales is with reference to pushing the product in the market, maybe through intermediaries, maybe to the direct customers. Now when we take the service part into account, now all the activities which are undertaken for enhancing and maintaining a product's value, we say it's a service part. They are performed by organization in terms of installation, repair, maintenance, customer demonstration, etc. All these are the services part. Now, whether any doubts up till here? Especially when the demand is more and the orders are more, okay, it becomes a challenge for the companies to manage this primary activities, specifically with reference to inbound logistics, operation and outbound logistics part. The company has to undertake the production processes as per the demand of the customers. They need to procure the raw materials. They need to think about options wherein the operation cycles or the production cycles can be decreased with the help of new innovative technology, where there would be minimum errors wherever a human element is involved. And today, that's why most of the companies are preferring the robots in terms of warehousing also. A separate department of supply chain management takes care of this, of the channel through which these goods reach the end customers. Companies are today coming up with the innovative technological ideas, or the emphasis on more technology to reach the customers. Here, even the digitization, or the, we can say, the IT part, the company thinks of integrating the technology as well as the logistic part to reach to the customer within the specified time frame. Many of the companies are undertaking research and development activities also here with reference to this particular aspect. Because if the customers do not receive the goods at a particular time, there is a possibility that the company may lose the customers and switch to the competitors offering or competitors products. Now, any doubts here? Hello. Now, the next part is support activities, which we will discuss in the next session. Today, we will stop here. Thank you, students. Hello.
Hello.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We'll stop here.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.